Hey team, I've got 3 drills to help you with your front squat. Commonly with front squats, what a lot of people have trouble with is 1, the rack position, holding that bar comfortably in the rack position. 2 is the lack of range of motion, so range of motion from the hips or the ankles. And 3, trunk stabilization, allowing our body to stay in an upright position when we squat. So here's my first go-to. First one's limbering up and getting mobile in the ankles. One of the drills I like to do is using a kettlebell. So you grab the kettlebell, pop it on the quad, so bottom end of the quad here, and then just pop your hand through the kettlebell. Then what you need to be doing then is popping your knee as far forward as you possibly can, okay, without your heel coming off the floor. And then you just hold that. It doesn't really matter what you're doing here, so you can put a lot of force through the front, and then just pop in, like so. You might find as well, if you want to test your ankle range of motion, you can do. And just pop your foot in this position here. As you can see, post-surgery for me, I struggle with the ankle range of motion, so it's always nice to kind of just keep pressing on and doing this. Also, what you can do is use a wall. You can then find your foot and then just pop your knee as far forward as you can until your knee touches the wall, and then you can see that one side maybe is more mobile than the other. That'll help you then test and define whether you need to work on it a little bit more, okay? Commonly, what can happen for people in front rack issues is they're more concerned with what the elbows are doing instead of what the trunk's doing. So it could potentially look like something like this, where the chest is flaring out, okay? So one of the go-to things I like to do is try to stay nice and upright with the torso, and just utilize the bands to pull your rack position here, okay? So just loosen off those lats, keeping the weight, keeping the elbow nice and close to the body, and then you just hold. You want to try and have the bands trying to act as a resistor, so it's kind of adding some resistance to the movement. Because again, it's important not to then flare the chest out, be in a nice, strong, active position. Secondly, the wrists can be relatively stiff, or also as well you could potentially have some problems like tendonitis. So it's important to get some movability in it, okay, and also as well not stress it too much if you do have tendonitis. One of the drills I like to do is getting into this position here where my arms are in the opposite direction. I'm keeping the palm of my hands on the floor and I'm pushing back. Activation and rotation is the third thing I look at when I look at the trunk, okay? First things first is maybe adding and incorporating potentially a kettlebell to do some goblet squats. So we're focused on keeping our body nice and tall, and also having that kettlebell to acting as a counterbalance. So then what we're not doing then is using that kettlebell to then drop us forward. It's all about keeping a nice and active position at the top. And then secondly on that is you've potentially been sat at a desk all day, so we need to get some trunk rotation. So great one for me is threading a needle. It's good to kind of either hold these positions, these 2 positions here, or secondly hold these 2 positions here, okay? Or we can mobilize and move. Guys, I hope this helped, and it's going to unlock some of that capacity that you may have with the front squat. As I always say, guys, enjoy the process. See you on the whiteboard.